What's going on, Lions fans? Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast. I'm your host, Meko. Welcome into your go-to place for all things Lions related. That includes news, updates, analysis, and so much more. In today's podcast episode, we are going to be reacting to the Lions schedule, which released last week along with the rest of the NFL schedules. And we're going to talk about essentially our biggest takeaways after now that we've had a few days to kind of digest the schedule and kind of have an idea of how things are going to kind of play out for the Lions. Again, I'm your host, Meko. You can find me on Twitter over at the Meko Scott. I'm joined once again by my amazing co-host. First and foremost, we have your senior editor over at prideofdetroit.com, Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Ryan, how are you feeling? Sorry for kind of leaving you waiting a little bit and have you like a little concerned about me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay. Two, at least I was inside and not outside. If I was stuck in the rain, I'd be pretty sad. But I'm just glad you're okay, and I'm glad we get to talk about the schedule. The wait is over, guys. The wait is over.
It's actually over.
Yeah, now the wait is officially over. Now it's officially over. And for those who are wondering, I fell asleep before we were supposed to start the podcast, and Ryan was like, "Hey, where's Meko?"
Just hibernating during the off season.
Yeah, never trust a post-work nap. It's going to betray you every single time. Also joining us today is your editor-in-chief and beat writer for the Detroit Lions, Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online over there on Twitter. Jeremy, how are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm excited that we get to talk a little bit about the schedule here. We get to talk about relatively real news, and more importantly, now it feels like we're actually getting kind of close to football. You know, the NBA season is now officially over for all 32 teams as far as I'm concerned. Hockey season ended months ago. Baseball season's over. It's football time.
I was gonna say we'll talk. We can definitely talk about the Pistons at some point, not during the main podcast, but like if you ever want to actually see what we have to say during our breaks, and you want to hear us talk about the Pistons, this is a perfect time to go check us out over on twitch.tv/prideofdetroit.com or Pride of Detroit, as well as youtube.com/Pride of Detroit as well, because yeah, we're definitely going to talk about there's some healing that needs to happen here in the city of Detroit.
And what better to heal Detroit than schedule talk, than NFL talk? Football time.
I will say in most cases, yes. And I think specifically when it comes to the Lions, because listen, the something that I think the NFL does better than any other league out there is that they find a way to make any major day in their like season calendar makes it seem important. An NFL schedule release day has become one of those days where it's got way more attention than like maybe it probably should, but I think that goes a lot to how the league promotes it and typically with how teams like get involved and get invested into like how they choose to release their schedules. But I think that kind of brings us to like the first bit of like quote unquote news when it comes to the Lions, because they put about as much effort into their schedule release video as I do into like trying to pay attention to golf on any given weekend. Like it felt very minuscule at best. Jeremy, I know that it hit a nerve with you in some way.
A little bit. And I'm not going to try to be mean because like I get it. I get what they were going for, right? Like they're trying to be on brand with this off season of like, hey, we're down to business. We're, no jokes. Like we need to correct everything. We're just all about the business, strictly business is I think what the official caption was on that. But I don't know. Like I'm just not that guy. I'm not the target audience there. I'm not the like, hey, hit me with all the blue collar, tough working grit. Like that stuff doesn't work on me. It's not appealing to me. And to me, I actually love the pomp and circumstance of schedule release day. Like, give me all of that. Give me the Halo recreations and 1,000 jokes per minute in your schedule release video. Give me a reenactment of the Napoleon Dynamite opening credits. Like, give me an opportunity to see your media department be creative. I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. It's something for us to fawn over for a couple of days in a very dead part of the off season. And I know here's the thing is like we've seen the Lions media department be creative. We've seen them do some interesting, innovative things. They've won a crap ton of Emmys. They're a good production company, and I don't know if it was their idea or something from the top down, but to me, I was a little disappointed because I don't know, the rah-rah, like we're better than these videos because we're just working so hard. That message is tired. I don't like it. I understand some people it resonates with them, but it just doesn't with me.
Ryan, I don't know. Are you with Jeremy on this one, or were you kind of like? Did you find some level of appreciation for the Lions' lack of creativity this year?
No, that was dumb. I don't like it. It was. Here's the thing. To Jeremy's point, you have a creative department that is a multiple-time Emmy-winning group, and you decide to not let them flex their creative muscles. Like, you see how much fun the Raiders was with the Step Brothers, with Mendoza and Kirk Cousins. I love that. That's so much fun because one, it deflects a lot of the potential negative attention that could potentially be getting, right? Like you think about, you might have a little bit of quarterback drama, like when will Mendoza eventually start? Like, is Kirk going to feel cool with that? Well, clearly they do, at least like from an outward facing perspective. It helps take some heat off them. The Lions schedule release did the opposite. Like, the only thing that's going to work is if you have an awesome season, you make the playoffs and you make a run. If you don't, then it's, oh man, you guys were really about your business, huh? With that 10-7 record and, getting bounced in the first round. If that happens again, then maybe people aren't thinking about the schedule release, but it ends up feeling hollow, right? It feels like this is kind of I wouldn't say that the schedule release videos are any kind of tone setter, but I think it's a reminder of like where the team feels like it is. And yes, maybe the Lions really do feel like now's the time to get back to brass tacks, and they should be focusing on getting ready for the season and strictly being about their business. But it's May. Like, there's a lot of time before the season starts. Like, what are you doing? Like there's just so much time. I know they're preparing. I know they're getting ready for the season, but like, there's like, that almost seems like a video that comes out like Saturday night for like an announcement for the jerseys of Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, that feels immediate. This feels like, what are you guys doing in the meantime?
Well, you guys know who we can blame for the video being terrible. Like, this
Rod Wood.
This screams Rod Wood.
Yeah. This is Rod Wood.
This screams, we had to cut back and we had to save money from, by not paying Taylor Decker, and we don't have the creative freedom or the funds to give to the media department, because everything that you just said, Ryan, like, this would have been a perfect year to go just like full on Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator theme, where like the whole schedule release is just you getting like armed for this, and it gives the same message. It gives the whole thing of like, no, we're getting prepared, we're getting ready for war, we're getting ready for battle, like whatever the hell the message is supposed to be. But like, I agree with both of you in the sense that like the schedule release video is meant to be fun. It's almost in a way, if you want to like kind of send a message subjectively to your fan base, like it's supposed to be done in a lighthearted, fun way, so that like, sure, you're probably still on brand, but you're having fun with schedule release, and doing it this way, it does put a lot of like pressure to be like, okay, well, if you're all about business, then like, hey, training camp better be hard as hell. And I'm kind of expecting there to be some tough cuts, and I'm expecting like, it puts it in a really unfair place where it's like, so should I expect you guys to go, 5-0 before the bye? Is like, it's a level of intensity and seriousness that like nobody needed in the middle of May.
Yeah. And of course, like, the silliness of all these schedule release videos too, especially when it relates to what the Lions did, is, the team can be all about their business, and also their media department can have fun, right? Like, the media department isn't the one responsible for wins and losses ultimately, right? They can go out and, treat this as their Super Bowl. Like, I know it matters a lot. Like, ESPN ran that feature a couple years back, and it heavily featured someone from the Lions department talking about like how cool and important and fun this was for them. And I'm not saying like this probably wasn't very fun for them. Like, maybe this was a message that they wanted to send to. They wanted to feel like part of this, whatever, down to business stuff. But it didn't let them let their freak flag fly. And I know they have it, because I felt like there was like a 5-month period where they were kind of doing some of the like brain rot TikTok stuff, where they were just like, they were hammering other TikTok creators and doing all this fun creative stuff that people love to do. Like that everyone loves the Chargers stuff. Like, they were doing that level stuff for a while, and then it just kind of stopped. And it does make me wonder if it's a top-down directive or whatever. But anyways, we probably shouldn't get too. If you guys have another take on this, we can continue talking about it. But like, we should probably actually talk about the real schedule at some point.
I'm gonna leave it up to Ryan. Ryan, final thoughts.
No, my last thing is I think what Jeremy just said is an interesting perspective because that video couldn't have taken longer than 30 minutes to make. So maybe they just got a lot of free time. Maybe they got a little vacation.
True. Or maybe like the draft inside the den is just going to be extra epic.
I mean, I feel like it's also setting unrealistic expectations for that. You know what? Let's just put expectations to the max. Everybody's doing up downs on the day one of training camp. Media department, ticket booth people, Brad Holmes, like everybody's on the field. Everybody's down to business starting day one of training camp.
You said Predator though, and the only thing I can see now is Dan Campbell and Kelvin Shepard, like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
just like
and Carl Weathers.
Oh,
shoot!
Like
Next
Blake
year.
Miller,
Campbell with the
Sewell, just walking in, dude. Media, like Lions media team, just hit me up next year. Like we can put together something awesome to make up for this year.
Can Chris Spielman be Jesse Ventura?
Yes. That's perfect.
All right. To Jeremy's point though, let's actually dive into the schedule and let's just start it out here, Jeremy. Just initial thoughts overall about the schedule once you had a chance to look at it, digest it. What kind of was like the overall theme that you kind of ran with it?
I kind of hated it initially, if I'm being completely honest. Like, outside of, the obvious, we should tackle the good stuff is obviously the stuff that we knew before, right? There's a lot of easy looking opponents on this schedule that obviously didn't change once they told us when and where those were things. But it felt like in terms of putting the games into specific spots, it hit all the things that I didn't want to see, which was early bye week, no bye week anywhere close to the Germany game. The thing that everyone pointed out right away was the 3 road games to end the season in the division, 3 out of the last 4 weeks, which is insane, something I've never really seen. I will say, like, I want to get back to that, but like the other thing that bothered me, and this is something that I feel like not enough people pay attention to, like everyone is all about rest differential these days, and I don't know, studies show that like rest differential is not as impactful as a lot of people think, but to me, I want to hit the new regimes early in the season. The teams with the new head coach, the team with the new GMs, the team with the new quarterbacks. And the Lions were playing 6 teams with new head coaches this year. And they're playing 4 of them week 9 or later. So Jeff Hafley and the Dolphins is week 9. Kevin Stefanski and the Falcons is week 13. Robert Saleh and the Titans are week 14. And John Harbaugh and the Giants are week 16. Those head coaches, and a lot of those I respect as head coaches, like they could have their head on straight and have that team going in the right direction by the time the Lions are facing them in a way that, like, I think those games might be a little tougher than they look. Maybe not the Dolphins, but like the Falcons, Titans, and Giants, those games could be a little bit tougher than they would have looked like in week 1, week 4, week 5. To counterbalance that, like the other 2 is the Bills, but they have Joe Brady, so I'm not sure there's going to be that much of a difference. He was their offensive coordinator for a couple of years, so it's not like a huge transitionary period. And then Mike LaFleur and the Cardinals week 5. I think that is a favorable early game schedule against the Cardinals, but I wasn't that scared of the Cardinals anyways. But overall, I don't want to get too caught up on the order and the home away and the prime time versus whatever, because in the end, it's still like a very good set of opponents for Detroit in a way that I think most projections that I've even seen are like 11 wins or more. And, you don't want to lose sight of that, but I was a little bit disappointed with several developments from the actual schedule release.
Ryan, how about you?
I was just fact checking something, and Jeremy, to your point too, all of those teams are going to have their bye week before they play the Lions. So like that, it's just like more planning, more opportunities for them to maybe, if there are problems that happen early on in the season, an extra week to maybe get things straightened out. So like the Titans, the Giants, obviously that game's so late in the season, they've had their bye by then. The Falcons and also the Dolphins all had their bye week before they play the Lions. So I I think the thing I was most annoyed with was the 3 divisional games on the road, especially because, when we were starting to piece together the schedule, it was like, okay, that Minnesota game's an away game, that Bears game is away game. There's no way they're going to make the Packers game week 18 on the road. Oh yeah, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that just feels especially cruel because, I think one of the things we're hoping for out of the schedule was to limit the cold weather games. Well, there's 2 of them, and it's 2 of them in the division.
Right.
And that's not ideal. Don't love that.
And the other one is primetime in a place that has a pretty good home field advantage in Minnesota, right?
It goes without saying. So, I think for as easy, relatively speaking, as the Lions schedule opens, it totally just swings the other way. And I think it gets equally as hard as it seems easy to begin the season. So, not crazy about the earlier bye week. But I feel like we're kind of splitting hairs on that to an extent. Like week 6, not great, but also we were hoping for week 8 or week 9. It's like, okay, well, we missed it by a couple of weeks. So they do, though, I think with that mini bye that they are going to get because they didn't, petition to have the bye week after the international game. Maybe that'll kind of help, hopefully in the long run, just because that is the really, that's that tough part of the schedule that I kind of highlighted. So maybe you get that mini bye there and that kind of helps. But I don't know, Meko, any feelings your way?
Yeah, I might be the only one that maybe feels a little differently about the end of the schedule. And that's more so like because when I looked at it, granted, I don't think I put a lot of emphasis on like them being away games as much as I put emphasis on like, hey, you want to be playing your best football at the end of the season anyway. And so being able to lock up the division more than likely, and like those last few games of the season are the ones that matter the most. I feel like should work towards the Lions' advantage. Like Dan Campbell has been kind of preaching that the last few years of like, hey, once we get to December and January-esque football, like that's when we want to be playing our best. Well, you're also going to be playing more than likely your best opponents around that time as well. So ideally, again, if you're playing the Packers and the Vikings coming, the 2 weeks after you come out of your bye in week 6, you don't play the Bears until Thanksgiving. You get a couple of weeks off, and then that should kind of let you know where the division should relatively be. And I think that should help elevate the importance of those games. They're already going to be important because they're division games, but I think it puts the Lions hopefully in a really good position to where like, hey, just finish the season strong, right? Win those games that you need to win against division opponents near the end of the season and more or less lock up your playoff seeding at that point. I do understand, though, it puts a lot of pressure on them to have to play outdoors, specifically in Chicago and Green Bay, both of those being in January. But like I said, I do think there is something to take away from just like you get an opportunity to hopefully be playing your best at a time when like you will hopefully be going into the postseason. And hopefully that's momentum. Again, something that I know, Jeremy, that you don't necessarily like, but hopefully it's putting you in a situation to where like you are playing your best football at that point in time. Everything else though, like you guys said, their schedule for the most part, other than that, I don't really have a problem with. I like everybody else, I don't necessarily love the week 10 to week 12 stretch. It's not my favorite, but I think the way that a lot of their opponents are kind of laid out the rest of the schedule is pretty fair. You kind of get something really pretty similar to what you got last year when you got by playing the Bills in week 2 is similar to playing the Ravens in week 2 last year, where like it could be a really good measuring stick game. It could also be a nothing burger because it's an AFC opponent. So if you drop that game early in the season, no one's really going to care.
Yeah.
So there's a like a little like nuances here and there where like, again, you get back-to-back division opponents in week 7 and week 8, but then you get the Dolphins in week 9. And again, it's early, but I don't expect the Dolphins to be good. So like, I think that's like if you potentially drop one of those games, the Dolphins game could potentially be a get-right game. Same thing with the Titans game. Like there's opportunities for the Lions if there's a misstep to potentially get right against an opponent that I just don't expect to be great at different points in their season.
Yeah, I do kind of like that stretch right after Thanksgiving. Not literally right after Thanksgiving, but actually literally right after Thanksgiving, right before you go into that kind of gauntlet with the 3 road division games in the Final Four. You get the Falcons and the Titans, right? Like that's, I don't want to call them bye weeks. I don't want to disrespect any team because every NFL team is good, and I believe in any given Sunday. But it does feel like let's, if there is any turbulence in that week 10 to 12 international Thanksgiving stretch, it feels like maybe you can cool things down then. I want to go back to the end of the season though, because I think the positive spin on these 3 road games, division games, is that if you falter early, like let's say, everyone's predicting they're going out to this like 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 start, whatever. Let's say you slip, you're 4-3. You're not where you want to be. Like you have then the opportunity to right the ship. You would have to falter so bad in the first 10, 12 weeks of the season for those games not to matter in a bad way, right? You should be able to pull yourself out of pretty much any hole with that stretch right there if you are playing your best football down the stretch. Now, it could certainly work the other way where like you go out there and you go 9-1 or 10-2 or whatever, and then you collapse. Like that is certainly a possibility, but I think the point being is that last month of the season, those last 4 weeks of the season are almost certainly going to matter. And we were begging, 5 years ago for meaningful December and January football. Well, now we almost certainly have it.
Yeah, I think the other good thing to consider is that you don't play a divisional game until week 7, and that comes right after your bye. So yeah. I think to that point, right, you kind of build some ramp up, maybe some familiarity with Drew Petzing and what's going on in offense. You get some chance to work out some of those kinks before the games that, we learned last year. Again, as a reminder of just how important those divisional games are. So I think not starting your divisional play until after, week 6 it's kind of a little bit of a bonus. I think if you're going to look for the optimism in the schedule, I think you can find it in places and you can, cover yourself with it like a nice little warm blanket until August arrives. And then it's like, nope, everything's out the window, balls to the wall. The NFL's crazy, because that's going to happen too, Meko. Like as much as we can look at the schedule and be like, oh, there's a spot here, there's a spot there. The Packers, just like the Packers alone, they'll play them in week 7. They won't see them again until week 18. They'll be a different football team almost entirely. The Lions will be an entirely different football team from when they first play them to when they play them again. So there's just so much to play out in the season that it's hard to prognosticate that far in the future.
But I think also like a positive to that is that they are going to be a drastically different team, and you'll get to see how they've evolved in both situations, right? Like Packers and Vikings in that situation of how much time is going to pass before you play them the first time, which is, again, for the Lions, 6 to 7 weeks before you play the Packers or the Vikings. And then there's like another, 8 to 10 weeks before you play them again. Like there's a lot of time for to gather more information. You're going to know pretty well by the time you play the Vikings in week 8, is Kyler Murray better for this team, or is this team still not very good? There's a lot that you'll be able to tell. Is Kyler Murray even still the quarterback by the time you have to play the Vikings again in week 15? So much can happen in between that time. You'll be able to understand and see what the Packers look like without Micah Parsons by the time you play them in week 7, and then what it probably looks like once he comes back, probably somewhere in the teens, when he'll probably be back from his ACL injury. And so you'll have time to game plan for that too, where it's not going to be this quick turnaround, unlike the Bears. I think the Bears is probably one where it's a pretty quick turnaround. You only got about 5 weeks in between those matchups, but I don't know. I think it could still play out really well, but to your point, Ryan, a lot is going to change and develop between the offseason and then literally once the season starts. There's going to be so much change and evolution from all of these rosters.
Can we talk about the Germany stretch there, the week 10 to 12 thing that obviously has gotten a lot of coverage, because we've got yet more information on what happened there, because everyone was wondering why they didn't get a bye week afterwards, and it wasn't clear whether it was the NFL or Rod Wood. And now that one of the schedule makers or guys involved in the schedule making process has kind of talked after the schedules dropped on a conference call. Now, granted, this is coming from the league, so trust whatever you want. But basically, and his name's Mike North, the VP of Broadcasting Planning, says, we knew that the Germany game was going to be a mere 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and it was important enough to Rod Wood, to the organization, to the international folks, certainly to wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, that it made a lot of sense for the Lions to play in Germany that game. And then later he said they knew what they were getting into. So more or less saying the Lions pushed for the Germany game. And I guess the way that you can probably see it playing out is the league was like, hey, you haven't played an international game in 11 years. You're going to do it this year. If you want to play the Germany game, you can. I know you have Amon-Ra. I know you got all this. But just be aware, we're not going to give you the bye afterwards. And the Lions like, great, that's fine. We want the Germany game. Give us the Germany game. We'll figure it out. Just make sure we don't go Thursday to Thursday after Thanksgiving. So now that you know that, I'm curious what you guys think. Was this the right choice? Should the Lions have made a play for a different international game? Was this making the best out of a bad situation? Do you want to just hate on Rodwood for another 15 minutes?
Thanks, Rodwood.
I just
Way to go, Rodwood.
Yeah, I just love that we can actually say that and it actually be his fault this time. Like, it's not us just lobbing grenades.
Just the football guy not knowing football.
Because, like, yes, I still think this is a bad decision because the Germany game could have happened any year. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown is under contract to be on your football team for years to come. And I do think you need to think about the attrition of your football team. Like, especially when you look, Ryan, when you look at like the last 2 years, injuries have been a pretty big part of that. And the fact that you went into a conversation, whatever this conversation and however it was conducted, knowing that like, hey, if we take the Germany game, we're probably getting an international game for sure. But if we take the Germany game, it's going to push our bye week sooner in the season. And you still took it. I just don't love that. I don't love that planning, knowing that injuries and longevity has been a really big issue for this football team the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like call their bluff. Do you know what I mean? Take the bye week after the Germany game. We should be like, yeah, schedule us for a Thursday game after Thanksgiving. Do it. Do it, NFL. Do it. Because there's always the chance that like it could have just not happened. They could have just not scheduled them for a Thursday game after the Thanksgiving Day game. Why not run the risk of that and just have the bye week after the international game?
I don't think they were going to grant it. I think the Germany game was set where it is. Right? They knew. So I don't think they were going to grant them a week 11 bye. I think that was what the league was telling them is like, hey, we're not giving you a week 11 bye. So if you want this international game now, it comes with not getting a bye right after it.
Then it's just Meko's point where it's like, then we just don't want the international game.
But they were going to have to take an international game right this year, right? It was with the NFC this year. They hadn't played in 11 years, so I mean, sure. Like I would have taken the Spain game. I would have taken the France game. Like
that's
sure.
what I'm saying. Like
right.
I get the Amon-Ra Germany thing is starting to feel a little bit like a pain. Yeah. Like this schedule coming out, it's like, why are you trying to ham fist this? It feels like poor writing. You know, NFL script writers, this feels like poor writing. It's a little too heavy-handed. We get it. Amon-Ra can speak German. Okay.
It's more like the Matthew Stafford Clayton Kershaw thing at this point. By the way, did you know Amon-Ra was German?
Did you know? Did you know this? Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, send them anywhere. Send them anywhere. I'll play the international game. It's just for football wise, for football sense. The bye week is so important.
I'm actually a little bit lighter on Rodwood for this one because I do think it made sense to pick Germany. I do think they're trying to build a brand out there. It's whether.
But I'm trying to see them win football games.
Of course, but the international, like this whole thing of like getting the bye after the international game, I'm not sure how important it actually is. Like people are starting to throw out stats. Like there's been 21 teams who didn't have a bye week after the international game so far. Those teams are 12-9 straight up in the next week, 9-12 against the spread. So, fine, right? Like generally fine. And this year, of the 16 teams that are playing internationally, only 3 have the bye right after the international game. So this isn't just like the Lions are the only team getting quote unquote screwed by this. Like most teams are now following this. This is just kind of how it is. So there's no guarantee if they'd played a week 6 international game that week 7 would be a bye either. The unfortunate part about this, and it's it feels like the way that the NFL is turning the screws even more is that game right after the international game is against the Bucks, and they're coming off their bye. Like that sucks. That's just like the crap cherry on top. But I don't know if the Lions could have made a better situation out of this, given all of the factors that were there. It's unfortunate that the Germany game had to be the last one on the international schedule. It's unfortunate that one couldn't have been in October. I'm guessing like some of that is probably impacted by literal Oktoberfest. I know that's technically in September and maybe early October, but point being, like, it's a little bit of bad luck, and I think Rod Wood actually might have done like the next best thing other than maybe taking an international game, and that's ensuring that like this 3 games in 12 days things doesn't become a 4 games in 19 days, right? By requesting that extra the mini bye after the Thanksgiving game. It's not great, but I'm starting to see the pieces put together now that we have kind of the full overview of the information that the Lions had at the time.
It's just the short end of the stick, though, Meko. That's all it is. It's just getting the short end of the stick, and it feels like the Lions have gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to scheduling spots in other times in past years. But everybody gets it, though, right? But it's like it feels unnecessary.
Well, and it also, I think it's always been the illusion, though, that like, well, the Lions don't have a lot of say-so. And I think that's the part of this that like kind of bugs me, is like you kind of did, though. You had a choice, and I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier when kind of making jokes and making comments about the lack of creativity for the schedule release video, is like you're so locked in on business in terms of making sure that you accomplish everything that you want to accomplish this upcoming season, that you can't put out a creative schedule release video, but you're not so much worried about business to the point where you're like, but brand awareness, and Germany is a great brand awareness opportunity. And it's like, no one's really gonna care though about that if you don't actually make it to the postseason. No one's going like everyone's going to be thinking about like how rough this stretch is if once again you're kind of limping into the postseason or limping to the end of the season. And knowing this, I think, just kind of makes that a little bit worse. Like I said, if before, when it was just one of those things where like, no, the schedule is something that's created and it's thrown at teams, it was easy to be like, well, the Lions are just getting the short end of the stick. And it's like, no, you actually had a say-so and you chose the short end of the stick in this situation.
Maybe.
Like I see, Jeremy, I see your point though too. Like it's making the best out of a bad situation that is kind of out of your hands. Right? Like,
yeah. I mean, we should also, you can't just pick and choose your international game necessarily, right? You can put in like a word for it, and you can say, hey, like, Germany makes sense for us for a million reasons, and the league can be like, you know what, that does make sense. Here you go. But like, just be like, the Lions can't just be like, hey, we want the France game. They're like, okay, here you go. Here's the France game. Like, you have to make a pitch for it. They can say yes or no. And I think in this situation, it made sense for all parties involved. It's not the ideal situation for the Lions, but again, like, can they just be like, give me Brazil, give me Spain? No, like, that's not really how it works. And the last thing, and this isn't like to absolve Rod Wood, because if anyone has watched me long enough, like, I'm not a Rod Wood fan, but this is clearly not a decision that he's making by himself, right? Like, this is something that Dan Campbell 100% had some sort of say in, right? It's not just like, oh yeah, go ahead, Rod, go do what you want. Like, if you're talking about the bye week, if you're talking about international travel, he is consulting Dan Campbell. There is zero realities in which Rod Wood has gotten that much freedom to make a football decision.
Yes, I just don't know how much stake, Ryan, I put into Dan Campbell really caring. Where he this is one of those situations where I think Dan being Dan probably bites you in the butt a little bit. Where Dan's like, "Hey, we got to play football regardless." Bye week is bye week.
You're talking about the only actor in the schedule release video who pinned the schedule to the board, like in all the realities of Dan Campbell in the Detroit Lions verse. All of them said, "I don't care. Who cares? We'll be ready to play football. We'll see after we get back from Berlin." So I get that. Also, you can pay for like Duolingo Premium, give it to Tate Ratledge so we can learn French. There's your petition for the France game. That's pretty much it.
Denied.
There you go.
Bad reasoning. Denied.
Okay, maybe a more high-profile player.
Saints get it because it's
Jameer Gibbs. Learn Portuguese. Let's go to Brazil.
It's just like I said,
get a Brazil flag tattooed next to Sonic on your back. He loves Brazil. They want the Brazil game.
I don't know. Like I said, like I do hear you though, Jeremy. It probably is the making the best of a bad situation. But I mean, again, like it just feels like there was an opportunity to just not be so focused on the Germany thing. Like you both said, like it does feel like it's becoming a forced thing where it's like, well, we have to do the Germany thing, where it's like the NFL is in bed with as far as Germany being a location where international games are going to be held. Why does it have to be this year? Like in a year where it does seem like you guys are so locked in on riding the ship, this just feels like a situation where like maybe kick that can down the road a little bit more and take advantage of that opportunity then instead of feeling like you have to take advantage of that opportunity now. It's not like it's a Righteous Felon Craft Jerky promo where like if you don't take advantage of the deal right now that you're never going to get it again. Like Righteous Felon is fair that way, where we've been fortunate enough to where we have the type of like relationship with them where we're allowed to help you guys get great savings on amazing craft jerky year round. It's not something that you feel like you ever have to miss out on, except if it's the draft. Like that situation, you missed out if you didn't take advantage of that promo code. But the Pride of Detroit podcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It's the jerky that fuels the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Each 2-ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced, all-natural Black Angus beef and prides itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. Guys, I can tell you that as a dance dad, spending over 8 hours at a dance location with limited snack options is not where you want to be. But fortunately for me, I come prepared every competition. And this year, I made sure that I had 2 bags of jerky in each of my bags when I went. But lo and behold, I even had like a 3rd bag from the last competition I was at. So like I was double prepared, triple prepared for just a really long weekend. And I think that's one of the best things about having Righteous Felon Craft Jerky, whether it's the fact that you can get amazing flavors like bourbon. What is the bourbon one called? There's a really, really good like bourbon flavor that they have. They have the OG like hickory barbecue one that is actually really good. They have Marilyn Monroe if you're looking for a little bit more spice. Darth Garlic is one of my favorites if you, again, like a little bit more spice in your jerky offering. There are so many good flavors. And like I said, we've talked about the meat sticks before, whether it's honey heist, whether it's the duo stick that they have with the OG hickory and the cheese. There's a lot of really great snacks, and it's one of my go-to favorites, whether it's, again, I'm at a dance competition, whether it's a vacation snack, or whether it's just like, again, it's become part of my just daily protein intake. So go over to righteousfelon.com, use the promo code POD15 at checkout to get 15% off your order. Again, that's promo code POD15 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back, we're actually going to take a look at the schedule and break it down into chunks and start to give our predictions of what we think the team may end up doing within those stretches. So it's not technically our full prediction of the season, but you can probably add up some things and probably get to a total that we will absolutely change once we get closer to the season. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more right after this.
All right, before we get into this, I was going to tell you it was Bourbon Franklin is the flavor. And
thank you.
I was pretty sure it was, and then I'm like, let me go to their website to double check. And then I clicked on the Bourbon Franklin, and they have a story for each flavor. And can I read you the Bourbon Franklin one?
Is it after Benjamin Franklin?
I don't,
or no?
I don't even know. Probably. Yeah. There's a lot of mention of freedom and stuff like that, so probably.
There you go.
But let me read to you the Bourbon Franklin beef jerky description here from the Righteous Felon website. A red bandana on a black lab's neck. An old beat-up Martin guitar getting passed around a campfire. Bruce Springsteen blaring over a jukebox in a rundown dive bar on the corner of Matlick and Nields. A deranged madman flying a kite in the middle of a lightning storm. There you go. A couple crazy forefathers thinking they could defeat the reigning superpower of Mother Earth. There's only a few things in this world more American than the aforementioned, and among those chosen few is an elixir unique to America itself, bourbon, the only form of whiskey that mandates production in one of these 50 United States of America in fresh, first-timer oak barrels. Bourbon Franklin takes Righteous Felon's original recipe and pile drives it with a 4th of July's worth of bourbon, a pinch of vanilla bean, and a whisper of cinnamon that'll whisk you right back to the street you grew up on. Bourbon Franklin is an homage to the ingenuity of America itself, its signature spirit, and the great men and women who created it and continue to reinforce and redefine its founding values: family, friends, flavor, freedom, and the pursuit of your tongue's happiness.
Is there a sequel?
It's all it's missing is like what LJ said in the chat, America at the end. Like that's all it needs at the end.
You guys want to talk about revolutionary branding?
That's it right there. I was going to read that during the read itself, but I'm like, this might make it 2 more minutes long.
But the jerky's good though.
It's
so good.
It really is.
It's really good. I got some of the meat sticks and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
The key with those, I like putting them in the fridge. If you put them in the fridge and let the cheese kind of chill, and then even like the meat stick tastes good, you know, chilled as well. So, like,
nice.
I'd recommend trying it.
All right. Before we get to alerts, I do want to jump to a comment, and I'm not sure if this person is watching on YouTube anymore based on their comment, but I do want to address it just in case. Karen Mindful Maker says, if they had done a silly, highly produced schedule release video, I'd come here and listen to you guys complain about wasting their time and money on that. I think it's time I unsubscribe. Karen, if you actually believe that's how we would react, I'm not sure you've been around here long. We universally praised last year's... Was it last year, the one with the Detroiter guys? Or was that the year before?
I think so, because was 2 years ago Dan Krimble?
That's right. The AI voice one that referenced our show, by the way, referenced Pride of Detroit. We have been in favor for years. Like they did the one with the self-defense guy, which was a reference that was over my head because I wasn't aware of that guy.
Yeah.
We like that stuff. We celebrate fun here. I know some people think I'm the fun police sometimes, but
there's an entire month where Jeremy writes on his face and like,
right.
We eat nasty jelly beans. Like, yes. I think we like fun.
I think that has to be something. One of the tenets of this show in general is like we try not to take things too seriously. Like we get upset over some things and we debate and argue and stuff like that. But in general, like even when times are bad, I think the vibes of the show has generally been good.
Yeah. And I mean, again, even if we were to critique it, it would be on a, like, did you find this funny, or was this entertaining, or was it as creative as it could have been?
Yes, exactly. we never would have been like, you spent too much time and money on this. Like that would not be a criticism. Like, there are certain, like, don't get me wrong, Karen. Like there are definitely people that are out there that would be like, just focus on winning. Like I don't care about this schedule release video. Like.
Oh, there'd be a lot of those comments, right?
Yes,
like that was the first thing you said, right?
Not here. Yeah, that's the first thing I tweeted out. One of the first things
Jeremy said in response to the schedule release video, he's like, "This is a big win for the shut up and play ball crowd."
Right. Yes. Yeah. Anyways, I just felt like it was necessary to like pull receipts on ourselves about that sort of stuff. Like we have never been the like you can't have fun. Even with the players, right? Like, the amount of people are like, oh, this guy shouldn't be streaming on Twitch. He needs to be working out. He needs to be rehabbing. He needs to be learning the playbook. Like, we'll never be those kind of people on this show.
And I think to your point, again, I wasn't the host of the podcast at this time, but, like, when they were doing, like, they had, like, really fun segments, like, the whole TJ Lang thing where he was, like, just having people sit on, like, random things and doing, like, the team wasn't great during these times, and they were still like throwing TJ out there to just be like, come sit on a random thing and let me ask you random questions that like don't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
And it was just like
with TJ was great.
I think co-signing that. Like I think we've always been pro fun.
Yeah.
And being able to separate the two. Like the team having like the media department having fun versus like the players and the coaches, like those are two separate entities.
Yep. No doubt.
Yeah. If anything, we're having fun that like Graham dressed up as an emo teenager to like, you know, the Halloween game, right? Like,
yes.
I don't think any of us are ever like, oh man, Graham would have had so much of a better season if he wasn't playing CS:GO all the time. Like, and
Right.
if we are saying it, we're saying it so tongue in cheek that, like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for Kyler Murray to keep playing as much Call of Duty as he wants, though. I'll tell you that. There's definitely a fine line to be drawn with fun, but like, not between like the entertainment side of the sport and the actual football itself.
Yeah. Was there a schedule release video that you guys particularly liked? I probably only watched about 5 or 6 of them, so I'm still way behind.
Chargers, dude.
Chargers
I love
is always
Halo.
me.
I love Halo. So it, like, just ramped it up even more. The fact that they got the original voice actor who does all
Yes.
the like double kill. Like he
Double
did
kill.
all of
Yes.
the like for when they play the Broncos. I think he said like the like let's ride. So they were using a lot of the funny
What
kind of references.
someone pointed out to me on the Broncos one was I didn't catch is when they threw a sticky grenade at Bo Nix, it hit his ankle. I'm like, oh.
I know, but they're absolutely ruthless. Like when
Yeah.
for the Patriots game, right? There's the sign about like
Yep.
a photo dump, like
Yep.
photo dump,
Yep.
like
The New
incoming
York
or something.
the New York Post is calling or whatever.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah, definitely. Oh man, the 49ers game, like they're going through like an electrical substation,
Yep.
and like people are dying.
Yep.
To talk about like the substation for the 49ers practice facility, like
Yep.
they are like like it feels, but it's like that every year, and there's
Yeah.
like it I don't know.
They
They're
pack
great,
in
man.
so many jokes that like I would say at least 40% of them go over my head.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
still love them.
if we were to watch it right now, each of us would at least pick up on 2 or 3 things that we didn't notice the
Right.
time that we watched it.
For sure.
But I think like that's again goes back to Jeremy's point though, where it's like, or I'm sorry. It goes back to I think our point in the first segment, which is like that's kind of the point of like the schedule release is that it's supposed to be so fun that it's like not connected to the team, and like the Lions did the opposite. Like
Yeah.
they connected it to everything that the team should be doing, and it's like, well, this isn't fun because I don't know. I wanted to laugh for like
Yeah.
for 2 minutes.
Right. I will say like I really liked Atlanta's. The This Is Sports Center kind of skits.
Oh, yeah, they did. It was just like a bunch of them, like one
Yeah.
on top of the other, right? Like,
Yep. And
did it
I'll
start
say
out
this.
like Matt Ryan like screaming
Yes.
at some people?
Yeah. Matt Ryan and Kevin Stefanski, I thought like nailed the acting, which is not easy to do. We've seen some of these videos of just like terrible, terrible acting, and probably was again the case this year, but those guys knocked it out of the park. And I thought, like any sketch comedy, like you're going to have some misses, but I think there were more hits than misses in that thing. And I enjoyed it. I love that This Is Sports Center commercials too. So I think they nailed the
Yeah,
vibe
this was
of
the
those.
I think this was the first year where I didn't get to watch any.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Yeah.
Catch
But
up.
in my
dude.
defense, I was also trying to like record a video and react to the schedule.
Yeah.
That's true. I can't say that. I mean, obviously the Raiders one was cool.
Yeah.
Like, I like.
I actually haven't seen it
Yeah.
yet. But I know that
I haven't seen it, but I do
Jason.
know it's like I do know it's Step Brothers like inspired.
Yeah. It's just like you see that, but then like Jeremy said, the This Is Sports Center stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's all pressing that nostalgia button. It's like, damn,
Yes.
I am
That-
getting old.
that's how it works though, man. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to be
It's
creative
just the cool
without
thing about football, though.
making references at this point, right?
Yeah, it's just the cool thing about football, though, because like it's the joy, like the fun of like you only have 18 games that you have to like run through. Like, could you imagine if the NBA tried to do something like this and it's like, oh, 82 games worth of
Yeah.
It's just another example of how like just the way the NFL is structured is a marketing like it couldn't lend itself to better marketing where you
It's
have
a
a full
marketing
week.
hamster wheel.
Yeah, you have a full week to prepare and hype up a single game. Every game matters so much. You can do these schedule releases. The draft is way more important than most other sports. Not just the first round, but like all the way through. At least the fourth round is important. I don't know. It's crazy.
I feel like other sports could do it. Like Nikola Jokic is a guy who was drafted in the second round of the NBA during a Taco Bell commercial, and he was top 3 in NBA voting.
Sure.
So like other
you can't make
sports
3 days out of an NBA draft though.
No, you can't. But like even the NBA draft itself doesn't feel as hyped up because
That's true.
Why doesn't it feel as hyped up? Because the NFL has also trained you that the combine matters a ton, right? Like the combine matters, but like the NBA has a combine.
Yeah.
Right, and it's
So
just
just
the
all- It
has a
NFL has
combine,
been
it has mock
they
drafts.
they so successfully have they've been able to just turn it into a hamster wheel that like you're always constantly looking forward to it, and then once it's in the rear view, you're like, it's not all that important. But there is this thing that's coming up that's very important, like and this is like the only time here in May where it's like, oh, we've kind of hit a little bit of a lull.
Yeah.
But why? The NBA is in like they're down to 4 teams. The NHL's down to 4 teams. Like the NFL can they can sit and chill. They can sit. I know it's been so long since we've even been thinking about playoffs. I understand this, or like winning a playoff series.
What NBA? What do those letters mean?
Never broke again.
All right, let me get through some alerts and then maybe we'll talk Pistons if we want to bring the mood down. I know Meko has a question about the Pistons that is maybe the most depressing question that's ever been posed during a PODcast break.
I had a comment and I held it to myself.
All right, fair enough. Duckline, thank you for the 38 months subscribed on Twitch. Das Gib, 55 months subscribed on Twitch. Blitzing Lion, thank you for the follow on Twitch as well. Johnny Utah, 11 months, says, in honor of my Andre Ware anniversary, can you break down why his career didn't work out? Was it Mouse Davis's fault? Oh boy, I think this crew might be a little too young to answer that question. Didn't he deal with injuries too?
Wait, say the question again.
In honor of my Andre Ware anniversary, can you break down why his career didn't work out? Was it Mouse Davis's fault?
Man, Andre Ware, that's a pull. That's
That
a
is a
pull.
pull.
Was he 80 or was he 90?
I'm assuming he was 11.
Oh, no. No, I was trying to think of the draft.
Oh, 1990.
Yeah. But yeah, he was number 11,
Oh, he
right?
wasn't there. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I was 4 when he was drafted. My analysis wasn't at its peak. And you two weren't even born yet, so.
Yeah, Andre Ware is 3 years older than my mom, so. Let's look at that 1990 draft, though.
Yeah.
Ooh. No. Is this the...
Emmett Smith went 17th. After Andre Ware went 7th. Not that good of a draft, honestly. I'm going to keep going through alerts while you look for Andre Ware / 1990 draft info.
I am, but I'm just seeing in the 90 draft that Ray Agnew was drafted 3 picks after him.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
Nice catch there.
There you go.
The Pintar 30 months says Subby Tubby. Okay. Thomas J. Hutchins.
Right.
38 months subscribed on Twitch. Steel Line 40 months says 12-5 NFC Championship game. Different result this time. Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting, Steel Line? Boof Gertz 26 months says Boof. It's what's for dinner. Kylo Den 21 months says we won't care about the bye week, the international timing, or 3 division road games when Dan Campbell is holding the Lombardi. I'm shotgunning that Kool-Aid. Love it.
perfect time to do it.
Absolutely. It's why I don't really
Right.
take. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't take the game by game predictions we do right after the schedule drop all that serious. I blow through it because how could I? How can you take that serious in May? I could do all this big analysis and I still don't know crap.
I think there should be a petition that we treat schedule predictions like mock drafts. They literally just don't matter. We're just doing them just for
funsies.
engagement.
Yep. 100%. I'm in. J Rago, 20 months subscribed on Twitch. Dan Pask, 59 months, says it's now or never Manu Twitchiversary. Strictly business. Let's go Lions. No worries, Johnny. Choco Burst Bowl, 67 months, says schedule release video should have started with Dan Campbell taking out the ping pong tables from the locker room and lighting them on fire before pinning up the schedule. Pinning up the schedule.
You know how much like trauma that would have like sent waves of trauma through this fan base.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about the schedule. I just felt like I had another take about it, but I don't think I do.
Fair enough. Sports Turf Pro, 37 months, says, hey fam, what's up, Sports Turf Pro? Can I call you STP? I'm going to right now. Maybe never again though. Bayermo or Baller Emilio, which is the actual name. I screw it up every time. 36 months. Subscribe to the channel. It says, should we let Duran walk after that performance? Let me put a pin in that real quick. And then Boulder Detroit Lion, 5 months subscribed on Twitch, says David Montgomery anniversary. What was more painful? Well, okay. The San Francisco NFC Championship or the Commanders divisional game loss?
We've been over this one. Yeah, it's San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like not even it doesn't even hold a candle to it.
I agree.
In my opinion.
But that is a good diving off option for what Meko wanted to pose.
Yeah, I did want to pose the question, which is a bigger letdown? The Lions losing to the Commanders in the divisional game as the number 1 seed, or the Pistons losing game 7 to the Cavs as a number 1 seed?
It's hard for me to have an opinion on this because I'm far less of a Pistons fan than I am a Lions fan. But I think I can also say with relative confidence that there was still a lot of doubt in this Pistons team, despite the fact that they won 60 games, despite the fact they were 1 seed. I think a lot of people didn't actually view them as the top Eastern Conference team. Even obviously a lot of Pistons fans pushed back on that and thought they weren't getting the respect they deserved. But did they ever look like the dominant team in the playoffs even? Like a team that couldn't be beat? It took them 7 games to handle Orlando, and obviously they had to come back from 3-1. It felt like really only game 6 was the game where like, oh, maybe now they figured it out. And in a lot of ways, like maybe that the parallel there is like the Minnesota game after all the injuries, where it's just like week 18, the Lions righted the ship. Now everything's going to be fine. Alex Anzalone's back. And then Washington comes and blows the doors off. Like I can see that like kind of being the comparison, but I think to me there were more doubts about the Pistons and the Lions going into the playoffs, even with all the injuries that the Lions were dealing with. So Lions were a bigger letdown.
Yeah. I think if the question is what's the bigger letdown, it is, I think it's the Lions for sure. But I will say that if there's anything you learned about the Pistons was just that they had resolve. And that was the thing that was a letdown about last night, where it's like, oh, you showed all the resolve you needed to in game 6. Like, wow, okay, that's who you guys are. And then that's not who you guys were in game 7 at all. So that felt especially deflating, because I think the reason I had as much confidence as I did in them going into last night was, look what they did against Orlando. Yeah. They're tested. You know what I mean? Not to say that Cleveland's first round series went 7 games too, but like it just felt like, okay, this is going to be an opportunity. And truth be told, I did think that they matched up really well against the Knicks, and they played them obviously really well in the regular season. So I liked the Pistons' chances in that, but either one of these teams that wins the Eastern Conference Finals is going to get absolutely beheaded by whoever's waiting for them on the other side of the bracket. Because there's an alien and an MVP. And the Pistons just didn't have the depth. And like that was the letdown, was like, okay, you know what? This is like their ceiling. Like this team, this is their ceiling. You know what I mean? And I think it was a different kind of letdown with the Lions that season against the Commanders, because it was like, 15-win football team. This is a rookie quarterback going into Ford Field. And that game never felt particularly close after the Sandstrill interception. It was like, oh, like going into halftime, it was like
it's 14 points or something, right? It wasn't out of hand.
It wasn't out of hand, but
it wasn't going well.
Yeah, like it wasn't trending in that direction by any means, right?
Yeah.
And maybe those are kind of the parallels between the Pistons game and the Lions game, though, because like the Pistons game, it was like, okay, at least they're hanging around. If they have one run stretch, and anytime they'd score like 5 points unanswered, Cleveland would get like 2 trips to the free throw line. It's like, okay, all right, cool. This is never gonna happen. So bigger letdown the Lions game, but just like maybe more disappointing, or like more sad, I guess, is like the Pistons, because it's like that team's not going to be back. You know what I mean? In the same way, like it's going to look different. Like there's going to be a trade. Yes, it should. Yes.
Oh,
with that Lions team, it's like you have the core. Like the core is there, and it's so much harder to keep the core together in the NFL.
That's why I think maybe that's why I think the Pistons is far less of a letdown, because it almost feels like
they have Cade.
Timeline wise, they're still early in their rebuild. Like they have a ton of offseason resources. They have all this. With the Washington loss, that was, I don't want to say peak Lions, but like that's them in their prime. That's them with like one of the last years with everyone still not costing a lot of money. In a lot of ways, I don't believe in window talk, but in a lot of ways, I do agree that may have been their best shot.
Maybe even the season before was the best shot.
Right.
Like,
yeah. That doesn't mean they can't get back. That doesn't mean they can't win a Super Bowl under this regime, under Jared Goff. But like that may have been their best shot. I don't believe that of the Pistons.
Like the best is yet to come.
Yes. And that's of course easy to say without knowing if it's actually true or not.
Sure.
Yeah. I think the Pistons one was a bigger letdown for me, because I think to Ryan's point, like coming out of that Orlando series, I had kind of like just chalked it up to like, hey, maybe it was just a bad matchup. Like basketball is so much about matchups, where I was like, maybe that was just a bad matchup. Maybe you're gonna get right against Cleveland, and those first couple of games in Detroit, and it was like, this team can get to the finals, whether they could win the finals.
Seed. Yeah,
right. It was definitely one of those things where it's like, okay, can they win the finals? I don't know, but they can get there, because I felt really good about if they have to play the Knicks, I think this is going to look drastically different than the year before, and that was one of the other things for me where it was like the Pistons were mostly healthy. Like I know, like down the stretch in those last couple of games, like LeVert was dealing with some things.
Duncan
Robinson was dealing with some things, but like. I still felt like, you know what, like this team, to your point, like they had Cade. And I thought at any given time, because again, it's basketball, in any given time, in any given series, Jalen Duren can turn it back on and it'll be fine. And seeing how they went out in game 7 was like, oh, you guys gassed in game 6. And like, that's where it was a letdown for me. I think, for me, whenever I look back to the Commanders game, it was, for me, I always feel like, you know what, there was just too much copium for me. Like there was too much like, oh, you won 15 games, you're the number 1 seed, it's a rookie quarterback, this will be fine. And I overlooked a lot of like injuries. I overlooked a lot of just like the things that just the Lions didn't do well, like defensively, where it was like, no, this will be fine. And then that game happened, and it was just like, okay, yeah, like this was just not their year. Like nothing lined up as well as I thought it would. And I think with the Pistons, it was just like, do I think the window's closed? No. And I think it's one of the things, Jeremy, you've talked about, like with the whole reseeding in the NBA, with the lack of reseeding in the NBA playoffs, where like the Pistons can still always get there. With the right tweaks, they can get there. I'm just not so sure, like, if I have the supreme confidence that they're going to make the right tweaks. That's the thing that, like, I haven't seen that enough in Detroit to be like, all right, great. You got as far as you got. Do you know what tweaks you need to make to this roster to like get you over the hump?
For the Pistons?
Yeah.
Yeah. I at least know, like knowing that they have the resources versus like the point that Jeremy made where it's like, oh, the resources are going to start getting thin. And then maybe that's why Jeremy bemoans any time Brad Holmes trades up, because it's like, you're already thin on resources, Brad.
Yes. You're thin in salary cap. Don't make yourself thin in draft capital. That's how you fix that.
But so like you look at a team like Orlando, right? Like they thought, okay, we're one player away. We'll trade 5 first-round draft picks for Desmond Bane. And it's like, okay, you got bounced in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Like you can make a trade where you want it, because I've seen all the mock trades, right? I've seen trade 4 first-round picks and Ron Holland for Trey Murphy. I love Trey Murphy, but am I trading all those draft picks for a guy who like isn't going to be able to create offense on his own? But like that's what happened with the Pistons. Like Cade was a guy who like had a collapsed lung a month ago. You know what I mean? Like he came back from that, had the postseason that he had. I mean, how, like we always joke like in past seasons, like, oh man, like they get 3 days off between NBA games. The Pistons were playing every other night. Yeah. Like in 2 back-to-back game 7s in back-to-back series. Your second best scoring option was a guy who's about to be 34 years old in Tobias Harris. What did you expect was going to happen?
Well, and that's that's the type of stuff that like has to be concerned about. Like, can they do it? Like, you've been looking for a second scoring option to Cade since you drafted him, and yet you haven't found someone consistently to like plug that hole.
Yeah, I mean it is Langdon's like. This was his second year as GM, right? So at least it's like a different general manager, whereas like Brad Holmes has been here for how long, right? So I think that's the timeline difference.
This is changing the topic a little bit, but the thing that bothers me the most about the Pistons not advancing is that it is just like Detroit fans are obsessed with the trade deadline. Obsessed with the trade deadline, and this is just giving them more fuel. I know you said that the Cavs made, or the Magic made a big trade deadline move, and they didn't make it out of the first round, but the Cavs also did, right?
Well, Orlando did it like in the beginning of last offseason.
Oh, okay. But
like the Cavs traded for James Harden at the deadline.
Right. And I'm sorry, I hate trade deadline talk. I think I mentioned this last week or during the midweek mailbag. Like, people treat it like this elixir that's going to fix everything, and you have to do it if you want to win a Super Bowl, or you have to do it if you're going to win an NBA championship. And like, I understand there are anecdotal examples of this, right?
Rasheed Wallace,
Rashid Shaheen. I don't know if he won the Seahawks the Super Bowl necessarily. I don't know if he was the extra thing that pushed them over.
He had a big play in the playoffs.
He did.
Return touchdown against the San Francisco 49ers.
But to me, like this, I'm kind of with Brad on the whole, like one player away is a fallacy. Like, build a good team. Build a good, strong depth.
In football, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think
it's a little bit
different in basketball,
it certainly
right?
is a little different in basketball. But
yeah.
I just...
Five guys versus 22.
Yeah. But I think, to your point, Jeremy, like, that's not just a... I mean, maybe it's a little bit louder because the Pistons just got bounced, but that's not a Detroit thing. Like, that's an NBA fan base thing, where like how we were talking about earlier, where like the NFL has made certain things just seem bigger than what they really should be.
Right.
For the NBA, it's the trade deadline.
For the NBA. Trade deadline. That's what the NFL's trying to do, right?
Right.
Like, they're trying, you know.
But I'm just saying, like, it has become a narrative in every professional sports team in Detroit over the past couple of years. Well, the Pistons didn't do enough. The Tigers didn't do enough. The Red Wings didn't do enough. The Lions didn't do enough. And it drives me crazy.
It's my most hated phrase on the internet. This team is unserious about
doesn't care about winning.
They didn't do anything at the trade deadline. This is such an unserious franchise.
Yeah. I understand it's different for different
makes my blood
sports.
boil, but it doesn't matter. Like, because you can be desperate at the deadline, right? You can overextend yourself. You can make a bad trade like that. That's not without, that's well within the realm of possibilities.
The Eagles spent a 3rd round pick on the defensive end, and like they sucked last year.
Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, and they might be getting a comp pick back for that in a way that it lessens the impact of a trade for him. But like that didn't do anything.
Well, I also just don't know, specifically looking at the Pistons. Whenever people get up in arms about whether or not the Pistons did anything at the trade deadline, it's like I need you to be a lot more specific on like who has the value you think they do, because like I've never been under the misillusion that like this is Cade's team with like this past season Jalen Durham was riding shotgun, and you're not trading either of those two players away to help get you over the hump. So what collection of talent did you think you were just going to like pull together to get you a James Harden-esque player?
It's kind of incredible what they're able to get for Jaden Ivey.
Right. Like
That turned out to be a great trade.
So, like,
But everybody on the outside, how did they react to that trade? Oh my gosh, that's all you got for Jaden Ivey? A week
How
later,
long did he
Jaden
last?
Ivey's not in the NBA.
Right.
a few weeks later, Jaden Ivey has given his life over to ministry. Like that's like Jaden Ivey is
Like
foregone basketball
corner ministry.
altogether. Yeah.
Yeah. You got Kevin Herter. He played NBA playoff minutes for you. Like you did okay.
Yeah.
It's the thing that I think for Pistons fans, like you kind of got to let it go. Like there's some hard truths that I think Pistons fans have to like come to grips with. Like Jalen Duren's more than likely not going anywhere. He may not get a supermax, but he's not going anywhere either.
And like, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and lecture Pistons fans because God knows I know so little about basketball, but we're talking about a 22-year-old, right? Like, give the man an opportunity to like grow from tough experiences like this playoff run.
Second year in the playoffs, right? His second time in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give me multiple years of this, because if that's the case, then like, when are we gonna jump on Asar for not having a jump shot?
Dude.
Which again, I don't care. I genuinely
Yeah.
do not care that Asar's not a great shooter. You're a fantastic defender. Dennis Rodman made a career being awesome defender, awesome rebounder. Different NBA, but I'm still saying you're hard pressed to find people that play defense in this NBA. You're not getting rid of Asar Thompson either.
Dude, I swore I think I saw a stat this morning because I didn't really want to look at Twitter at all because I knew it was all just going to be a bunch of the Pistons were frauds. We always knew they were frauds, blah, blah, blah. Right. But like I saw a stat where when Harden or Mitchell were guarded by Asar Thompson, that those two combined had more turnovers than they had field goals made over the course of 7 games, which is bonkers. And like you heard Kenny Atkinson last night, he said our game plan in game 7 was if you have the ball and Asar Thompson is near you, you need to throw the ball away from Asar Thompson. Like that was their whole game plan was like, but that makes me upset.
Anybody
with
but him.
Staff. It's like, are we not seeing what's happening out there? Like, but it's the, I think it's also kind of like the whole, like it's the GOAT debate, right? Because everybody pretends that Michael Jordan didn't lose a bunch of times before he eventually got over Isaiah's Pistons and, Bird Celtics and eventually Magic's
Basketball
Lakers.
changed
Like,
forever. Yeah.
well, yeah, everybody just acts like, oh, he went 6 for 6. And then he played for the Wizards one year and Mariah Carey wore a jersey dress. Like that's what we remember about Michael Jordan.
That was a great jersey dress.
So what you're saying,
but like,
that brought back a good memory.
but that's the thing that sucks is like either you win the championship and you're awesome or you lose and you're a fraud.
You're
and
garbage.
Yeah. So.
And that's a problem with all the sports, right? It's like we can't enjoy the lines of the past few years because what have they accomplished?
What have they done?
Life doesn't have to be all or nothing like that, I don't.
It also just like it belittles the things that we held at for such high esteem before. Remember when we were all like, "Hey, we want them to like get in the playoffs," and then it was like, "Hey, can you win a home playoff game?"
Right.
It was awesome when they did that. Like I still remember what Ford Field looked like and sounded like through my TV.
Dude.
Right.
winning a home playoff game.
Yeah. People quote Ricky Bobby unironically. If you're not first, you're last. Like, he's the idiot in that movie. Don't quote him like he's this fountain of
wisdom.
His dad literally like says to him in that movie, like, Ricky, I was high when I said that. You can be second, third, fourth.
Okay.
So I don't know. This kind of turned into like a Lions fans who went through something similar therapy session.
Yeah.
See,
Do Pistons fans feel better now? They're not.
They have to do something this offseason before I feel better about anything. But right now, it sucks.
Here's the question: is who are you rooting for in the Eastern Conference Finals? Because I thought there was 0% chance I'd be rooting for the Knicks, but over the past 2 weeks, I have not grown to like the Cavs much.
I'm rooting for Russia in that series.
Like Ryan said, I will be paying attention to the Western Conference Finals, and whoever comes out of that is who I hope wins. Like it's literally that simple.
I want the Spurs to win and for Victor Wembanyama to reveal himself as 6 kids in a trench coat. And then that's how we learn that aliens are real. I don't want anything nice to happen to James Harden or Donovan Mitchell
and
Jalen Brunson.
Knicks. Like the Knicks need to continue to suffer until I'm no longer here. Like once I pass on, then they can. I don't care what they do.
I think that I might develop a tick if I watch any Knicks Cavs. I'm just gonna like develop a tick of like me just doing my head like this.
I'm definitely done watching basketball this year. There's 0% chance of me catching any
watch
of those games.
Any games?
No. I mean, I watched almost all of the Pistons games. I did not watch any of Game 6, which made me think maybe I shouldn't watch Game 7. And I only watched 1/2 of Game 7, hoping that maybe me not being there for the final 2 quarters was going to do something good.
I did that.
I did the same thing. I got ready to turn the game on, and it was about to go into halftime, and I saw how big the score differential was, and I was like, "Oh, nothing good is going to happen from tonight." Like I'm gonna continue watching Gladiator 2. Like, good movie too, by the way.
I have not seen that yet. I can't remember if this first one is like.
First one
is so long since I've seen the first one. But actually, to answer your question, Meko, it was whatever the Pistons did, or whatever the Red Wings did in March. That was the most disappointing of your 2 options, was or whatever the Red Wings did. Just like being in first place and barfing all over yourself in the regular season and missing the playoffs. That was the most embarrassing. If the Lions, Pistons, and Red Wings were all drunk out at a bar, the Red Wings ended up in a pile of their own vomit behind the bar.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about Detroit sports pissing it down their leg, I want to thank the Detroit Tigers for making the decision very easy for me whether I want to continue my DirecTV subscription beyond the 3-month intro rate. The answer is no, I don't. I'm good. I'm good on Detroit sports until the preseason lines come around.
That's why I felt about I have a Peacock subscription, and I was like, I had it for the Winter Olympics, and I was like, I don't need that anymore. And then I was like, oh, there's NBA playoff games on Peacock? Well, I guess I got to keep Peacock. Guess who will no longer be subscribing to NBC Universal?
Right.
This guy.
I mean, if you want to watch Spurs Thunder,
is that on it right now?
Tonight.
Come on, it's got to be on NBC
at 8:30 tonight. NBC/Peacock.
All right. Well, I don't want to watch it that bad.
NBC. No.
Okay.
Everyone go out there and get a digital antenna.
It's on at 8:30.
Because the Detroit Pistons in 2026-27 are going to be on digital antenna, channel 20, and that is the greatest sports broadcasting news I've heard in decades.
Like no hyperbole. Like this
For sure.
It seems like such a Detroiters thing. Like having the
Channel
Pistons
20?
on channel 20 is like Yes.
It's incredible. It like literally is incredible. I know there's still going to be like national TV games that are going to be on Peacock, and I'm going to be frustrated. But like the fact that I can literally lock into my digital antenna and watch probably something like 50 Pistons games next year is amazing. It's I don't know how it got done. I don't know how Channel 20 has the money. I
don't care.
I really I also do not feel like this is the start of like some revolution back to normalcy, but I'm going to pretend it is for now because God, if one of those other like if a team that I actually care about a little bit more, like the Red Wings did it,
oh man,
I'd be thrilled. I'd be through the roof. And who's paying for the Red Wings anyways at this point?
Suckers.
Suckers
and fools.
I had someone from the Red Wings reach out to me because I bought tickets to a game. They're like, "Hey, is this a good email for you? Like, I want to see if you're interested in tickets in this upcoming season." I'm like, "It is, but no, thank you. Nope."
Are you giving them to me for free?
Anyways,
Segment 2.
Yeah, if you guys want to get out of here by 7, we should probably start immediately.
Yeah, we're not getting out of here by 7. This is literally 20 minutes till 7.
I'm gonna try to accelerate a little bit, and I was first thunder, and then there was some car revving. Did you hear that?
They did. That was on Meko's end.
Oh yeah,
your end.
Well, I could hear the thunder rolling, and now it looks like there's sunshine behind Meko. Like for a while, it was dark.
Oh yeah, I turned on my light because I realized oh, it's getting really dark in here.
But I got birthday dinner tonight, so that's why I'm trying to get out of here.
Let's
let's fire it up.
You only turn 35 once, guys.
I thought you were trying to be like a responsible father and that's frowned upon in 2026.
I did. I wanted to see the kids thrown to bed. They made me nice little videos. Look at this guy.
Aw.
No.
Dad, I love you.
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday.
He's a maniac.
Just don't put him in dance. Just
no shot. No shot. We got the girl. We got one of the girls starting swim, so I'll be cool with that. Swim's cool.
Yeah. To our live audience, if any of your wives are thinking about putting your daughters or your sons in dance, read the fine print. It's not as sweet of a deal as you think it is. She may say that she'll take her to all the practices. It's a trap.
Noted.
All right. And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Here in segment 2, we are going to be actually predicting the Lions record, but we're going week by week. So again, I'm sure some of you are going to take our totals and be like, oh, so you think the Lions are going to go blah. And sure, that might be true. I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to the week before the season, we're all going to have different predictions. So it doesn't really matter. We're going to treat this like a mock draft. This is mock draft 1.0 of season predictions. It's bound to look different at every other point whenever we decide to do this. So
that's one wild way to frame it. Jeremy's immediately out. You called it a mock draft. Yep. He's done.
Listen, he co-signed this in the break. I can go back and pull the clip. He's not allowed to object to it now. He co-signed this.
Listen, I've already published my game-by-game predictions. All I'm going to be doing is regurgitating that. This is all about you guys.
Aw.
That's fair. Mine's are definitely going to change. All right, so let's look at weeks 1 through 5. Lions kick off the season versus the Saints. Week 2 is at the Bills. Then we have versus the Jets at the Panthers on Sunday Night Football, and then at Cardinals to round out week 5. Jeremy, since you pretty much have yours already pretty much written down, what do you have the Lions going that first stretch of games?
Yeah, I don't want to disrespect these opponents, but I think anything less than 4-1 is going to be at least a mild disappointment. Some of these teams might look a little bit better than they look right now. They might play a little bit better, but like to me, the Jets is maybe the easiest game on the schedule. The Cardinals is probably close to that as well. The Saints aren't that far behind, but Saints I think could surprise a little bit. Maybe the Panthers are okay, given they technically made the playoffs at 8-9 last year. But those are all teams that the Lions, I think they're favored to win by at least 4 points for all four of those opponents. And then that Bills game, looks like maybe the toughest one on the schedule, but it's certainly not insurmountable, right? Like that's a game that they could win. I would maybe give them like a 40% chance to win it, which means they could win it 4 out of 10 times. And consider, like, we already kind of made the comparison of that game to the Baltimore Week 3 Monday night game last year. This one's Sunday night. It is a Panthers, a Bills team that's christening their new stadium. So like maybe it's a little bit extra hype, but I'm not looking at that game as unwinnable. So to me, like 4-1 or bust. With the possibility of being 5-0, anything less than that would be disappointing. So I got him 4-1.
Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I think you look at that stretch and you want to say 4-1, but I think it's a good point that you made, Jeremy, where a lot of people just assume it's the Bills game, but the Lions could very well win that game. And then you could afford to drop a game to Carolina, right? But I kind of view as like Carolina's the only other team that I would find acceptable for the Lions to lose any of those games. But that's an NFC game, so I'd want the Lions to pick up the win there against the Panthers. But I think you look at this stretch too, Meko, and you say, outside of Josh Allen, like there isn't a quarterback that strikes fear into my heart. Like no disrespect to Tyler Shuck, no disrespect, to the second version of Geno Smith in New York. Bryce Young, I think the last time we saw the Carolina Panthers, we saw them give the Rams a hell of a time and almost win that football game. They were also an 8-9 football team that had a really good home game against the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not sold on them being a great football team by any means. And then you look at the Arizona Cardinals, and I literally just saw a report from me and Rappaport before we went live that said Jacoby Brissett isn't present at voluntary OTAs and he's seeking a raise. So who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals? Is it going to be Carson Beck? Like,
oh boy.
Okay.
Just hard reset it all.
New coach, new coach in Arizona. Like, oh boy.
Brain drain with Drew Petzing too.
I almost said something mean. That would imply that there was a brain in Arizona at the head to begin with. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Explosives. You're fast.
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys. I think there is a ceiling where this team could go 5-0, right? Where things go really, really, really well at the start of the season. I could definitely see Dan getting this team locked in to take on a Bills team in week 2 and really kind of hype it up as a statement game. I think it's too early in the season for it to be a statement game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dan and the team are going to look at it that way. And with them having a new head coach, yes, it's a coach that's been on the roster, but taking on head coaching responsibilities, going from being just the guy that's calling plays to now having to be the guy that has to manage everything could be a lot for Joe Brady. And it could still be something that he's still trying to manage in the early parts of the year. Probably gets his bearings later in the season, but to get him in week 2 when he's still going to be trying to figure that all out, when to challenge, when to call timeouts, when to, personnel callings and things like that, like it's a good time for the Lions to kind of pull that draw. I do look at the Panthers game as probably the only team though where like, and maybe again, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that's the only team though where like the defense is the only one where I feel like that might be an interesting defensive matchup, like Lions offense versus that defensive front and things of that nature. But like to Ryan's point, there's not a quarterback or like an offense outside of the Bills that like I'm overly concerned about to kind of start. It's either offenses that are starting anew with either new coaches or new quarterbacks or new pieces, or just offenses that have just kind of like in the Saints offense in the situation where it's like, yeah, they've have a lot of the same pieces, but a lot of guys have kind of just, I'm starting to wonder how much tread those guys have, How much tread does an Alvin Kamara still have? How much do you still trust a Chris Olave at receiver and things like that? Like, there's a number of questions around teams like that where I think the Lions should be able to get off to a pretty hot start going into the bye, where you should be in the plus side of your record, in terms of just having more wins than losses.
I'm glad you brought up the defenses of these teams too, because it's easy to forget those are the teams that gave the Lions trouble last year. Because they lost to some terrible offenses, but it was the teams that had really good defenses that hung with them, right? Your Minnesotas, your Steelers didn't have a good offense, but their defense was pretty good. And so I kind of imagine like it's going to be that formula again, or at least early in the season while the defense tries to put everything together in year 2 under Kelvin Shepard. If you have a defense that can give that Lions offense trouble with all the superstars that they have, you're going to have a chance to beat them. And I'm like you said, like there aren't a lot in those first 5 weeks that scares me outside of maybe Carolina as one of those surprise teams.
Looking at the next stretch of games, you have week 7 through week 10. This is where the Lions are going to be taking on the Packers, the Vikings, travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins, and then there's the Germany game against the Patriots. This is probably where things start. This is where I think things kind of start to trend towards being like an actual challenge for the Lions. So Ryan, like, how do you see this stretch of games kind of playing out?
I think if you come out of this stretch 500, you're in good shape. If you come out 500 with maybe both those wins being against divisional foes, you feel even better about it. But I think at the end of the day, the way I kind of looked at this was maybe lose to the Packers, depending on is Micah Parsons back? Is he healthy? Signs probably point to him being ready by then, maybe. But I think if you lose to the Packers, you beat the Vikings, you beat Miami, you drop the Germany game to an AFC opponent, you're not too upset with that if you started the season 4-1, right? Then you're sitting at 6-3 coming out of Germany. The bulk of your schedule in terms of your divisional opponents still lies ahead of you. There's a quote unquote mini bye, not too far away. If the Lions are 6-3 after these first 9 games, I'm pretty happy with where they stand. But I mean, this stretch though, Jeremy, has my most anticipated game. I can't wait till they play the Dolphins. I swear to God. Like, it's going to test my fandom in a way that I'd never had before. I am a person who roots for the Detroit Lions, and I've rooted for the Detroit Lions in every football game that they've played for.
Stop it right now.
You're
taking the bit too far.
I'm not taking it too far. The Packers lost their best quarterback, and the Dolphins signed the best one since Dan Marino retired in 1999. Okay.
I can only imagine like Brian's reaction if the Lions like just absolutely take it to the Packers, but then get like housed by Malik Willis and the Dolphins. Like, he's going to be insufferable.
I'll be the loudest person on the internet. I can guarantee you that.
For this quartet of games, I actually have it playing out the exact same way you lined it up there, Ryan, with them losing to the Packers, beating the Vikings, beating the Dolphins, and then losing to the Patriots in Germany. But again, like, you look at those 4 games and they all seem very winnable. We mentioned how that Packers game is coming off of the Lions bye, and it's at home, and you could certainly convince me that that's a game the Lions aren't going to lose. But the Packers have played them hard. They are a team that defensively has given the Lions some trouble over the past few years. Packers have struggled with their own offense, but like, I'm very curious as to what that Packers defense is going to look like without Jeff Hafley. Now, obviously, they're gonna deal with Jeff Hafley a couple weeks later in Miami, but I'm not so sure that Packers defense is going to be as daunting as it was last year with Hafley. Hafley, I think, is a very, very good defensive coordinator, and it's easy to remember that the year before that, like, they were running Joe Barry out of town with how bad that Packers defense was. There is a chance of regression there that I think could play in the Lions' favor, but I have them splitting the series with Green Bay, and for whatever reason, I chose them to lose the Lions to lose the home matchup against Green Bay, but it could very much be flipped.
Yeah, I probably see it flipped, because I would see the Lions winning this Packers game, because I just think I going back to the Lions dropping both games to the Packers and the Vikings last year, like, I once again feeling like I just have like a feeling of like how Dan Campbell tries to approach some of these matchups, some of these games. Like I feel like he's going to have these circled where it's like, hey, we gotta get these ones, guys. Like the first time around, we gotta make sure that we make a statement. We gotta make sure that we show signs of improvement. And I think for me, this is one of the games that I kind of look at as like the Lions' first statement game is going to be week 7 against the Packers, because you go out there and you have a really good performance against a Packers team, your first divisional opponent, and kind of put the rest of the division on notice of like how you beat the Packers. That can do a lot to kind of hopefully transfer over and kind of carry that over into the Minnesota game, which, like we talked about in the first segment, being able to play both of these teams in week 7 and week 8 should give you enough tape, enough analysis on who these teams are and how you should be able to attack and exploit them, where it's something that you didn't have last year when you're having to play Green Bay week 1 and they also get Micah Parsons like kind of at like the drop of the or at the end of the buzzer kind of type of situation. So I'm a little bit more optimistic where I could see the Lions going 3-1 in this situation. Dropping one of these games either to maybe either the Vikings or maybe dropping a game to the Patriots in Germany. But I do also feel like that Germany game is probably going to be like, if they lose it, it still may end up being like Hall of Fame type record breaking game for an Amon Ra, where it's going to just be like, I expect him to put on a show.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the odds for all these games, I think the Lions are actually favored in all 4 of them. Yeah, they're favored in all 4 of them. So like 3-1 is definitely on the table. 4-0 is certainly on the table. You know, and I think that's kind of a general outlook of the Lions schedule in general, is like with any of these quartets, anything below 500 would be a pretty big disappointment just because of expectations where they are right now with both the Lions and their opponents. One fun activity I did today, it'll be up on the website tomorrow, is look at the other SB Nation sites' game-by-game predictions and take their predictions for each game against the Lions and build a record out of that. So, like, what do the Saints have against the Lions? Okay, the Lions are 1-0 or 0-1, depending on that. And building out a schedule. And I'll tell you this, like, the Lions are winning double-digit games according to their opponents as well.
Perception is everything.
So easy to have that much optimism this early in the offseason. But, I mean, going to the next stretch of games, this is where we're going to get to probably my most anticipated game during this week. I kind of have the Lions, like, I could see them probably splitting here and going 500, possibly dropping a game to the Bucks, and then probably for the first time in the season for me, probably dropping back-to-back games, dropping a game to the Bucks, dropping a game to the Bears, which wouldn't do great, obviously, for their seeding in the NFC. But the game that like I'm most excited for, Ryan, is this Falcons game. Like, I just want to see Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson both healthy going into this game, and just seeing like the 2 running backs that were drafted in the same draft class that are going to be compared to each other until both of them kind of hang it up, and just kind of being a fan of the sport. Like, obviously rooting for my team, but just being a fan of just watching 2 dynamic running backs do incredible things and really kind of stretch and put a lot of stress on both defenses. And then obviously wrapping it up against the Titans, which I think they could definitely get a win against a Robert Saleh team that's in his rookie season as their coach, or in his first season as their head coach. Like, it's still going to be figuring things out. I still think the Titans are still maybe a season away from being like a real threat to most teams in the NFL, especially a team like the Lions.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I actually have them going 4-0 in this stretch, and do I feel great about it? No. But here's the thing. Obviously, the Bucks game, we've already talked a lot about it, how the Lions are coming back from Germany. The Bucks are coming off a bye. That seems like a pretty big disadvantage. I know that's something that we're going to be talking about during that stretch a million times over. Dan Campbell is going to get asked a million questions about it. And sometimes I feel like when there's this narrative and Dan's getting badgered about it, like, it adds fuel to his fire. And it's like, let's prove that we don't care about this sort of stuff. Let's prove that we're over this stuff. So I think like that idea of like, here comes the outside noise doubting us. We're at this huge disadvantage. Let's just go out there and put the screws to the Bucks, a team that they've played pretty well against. You know, last year's game was incredible, right? The the Legion of Whom. You beat them in the playoffs. I know the Bucks got one on you the year before that, but then you beat them in Tampa the year before that. And if this team loses to the Bears on Thanksgiving, and I have to suffer yet like another sad Thanksgiving when they've won one out of their last like 15 or whatever it's been, I don't care how pissed Ben Johnson is that they got swept by Detroit last year. You can't. Do not lose to Chicago on Thanksgiving. And then I'm just not scared of the Falcons and Titans. Like, both those teams could be okay, and those games suffer from the thing I was complaining about, which is newish head coach is deep in the season, could have their team in the right spot. But Lions are better than them. So 4-0, baby.
That's wild. I love it. I mean, I think if there's any game from this 4-game stretch, I agree with you. I think the game versus the Bears on Thanksgiving is just uber important for me to win from a selfish perspective. Like, don't ruin my holiday. Yeah, don't let that happen. I think the Falcons game feels maybe like to me, it almost feels like it could be the most winnable game, because I don't know how much I believe in Michael Penix. Like, I want to believe in Michael Penix, but I don't know if I believe in Michael Penix the way that maybe the Atlanta Falcons believe in Michael Penix. So I guess just from a quarterback standpoint, looking at this stretch, I'm a little bit more intrigued by Cam Ward. They drafted Carnell Tate, so maybe they'll have a wide receiver out of the box who's awesome. Like, we see that every year. There's always a wide receiver that is highly drafted and is just a huge difference maker in year one. So I think maybe the Titans might be the sneaky team of this bunch that they could pull off maybe an upset over the Lions, especially this late in the season. Kind of the same effect that like Dan Campbell had in year one, right? Like, maybe you're building, yep. And then you get to that end of the season, and if the belief is ardent enough, maybe you do start winning football games. And so I just view, of all the games there, one, I want them to beat the Bears. I think the Titans could be sneaky good at that time. Obviously don't like the spot against the Bucks, but like, I could see them. I could probably, at best, I feel like the ceiling here is 3-1, in my opinion. But 3-1, that to the 2-2 stretch, to the 4-1 stretch to the season, you're sitting really pretty going into. I mean, the next quartet's a gauntlet, dude. Like,
yeah.
Regardless of what happens up to this point, like this is going to, for all intents and purposes, matter a lot for all of the NFC North teams.
I was going to say, yeah, you look at all of so week 15 to week 18, you have at Vikings on Sunday Night Football, versus Giants on Monday Night Football, at Bears, and then at Packers, which I think that Packers game could potentially end up being a nationally televised game. If again, if we're talking about the division potentially being on the line come week 18. And Ryan, I think you said it best. Like, this is a gauntlet that I think at worst you go 1-3, and at best, like, I think you're still shooting for 2-2, like, and maybe just dropping one game to, like, I mean, in my situation, like, hopefully you're just dropping a game to the Packers, but then splitting between the Bears and then sweeping the Vikings this year. But like, Jeremy, I don't like Ryan said, I think this becomes a stretch that becomes highly important to this team no matter what.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got them going 2-2, and I think you're probably picking that Giants game as the one that's a quote unquote gimme, but I don't necessarily think it's actually going to be a gimme. Again, you're a first year head coach towards the end of the season. John Harbaugh could have that team clicking. I know there's certainly a lot of optimism around New York. They almost beat the Lions last year without their starting quarterback, without their starting running back. So like that team could be a little bit more competitive than some people are expecting, but I still view maybe that one is the easiest one. Maybe Minnesota on the road, but that's never an easy place to play, especially in prime time. And then, yeah, I think maybe you split one of the at Packers, at Bears. The thing to remember, though, is like those are not daunting situations like they used to be, right? I feel like there is some like residual trauma playing in Soldier Field, playing in Lambeau, but the Lions win there pretty regularly these days, right? Like they beat the Bears, and granted, I don't know how tough the Bears were trying last year in Soldier Field. Last year, they've beaten the Packers several times on Soldier Field when they were playing for something and the Lions weren't. So, I think 500 is a realistic expectation here, and it's also just like fine, right? Considering how easy, quote unquote, easy the first 10, 12 weeks of the season are, if you finish down the stretch 4-4, especially if one or two of those games, obviously one of them would have to come against a division. If two of those games came against divisional foes, the Lions are going to be in a pretty darn good spot at the end of the season. So I think 500 is a reasonable expectation, and that's going to be adequate enough for them to not to at least get into the postseason, maybe even a little bit more than that.
I'm doing kind of the meme cliche that I feel like a lot of people make fun of on Twitter, where it's, the NFL schedule's dropped. The team you root for, their site is predicting that they go 11-5, or 11-6, and it's like so predictable. Like they're going to win more games than they probably will. But like I kind of see them ending up like 11-6 feels like a pretty solid prediction for the Detroit Lions. And the way I have it kind of broken up is 4-1 in that first stretch of games, and then 2-2, 3-1, and then 2-2. And ideally they win the games at Bears, at Packers. Like I don't think I'm going to mind losing to the Vikings, because I think the Vikings are kind of a fourth place team. I think they have the feeling of a fourth place team, because I just don't know if the offense is figured out. And something about the Vikings we'll know is the first 3 weeks of their schedule versus Green Bay, at Chicago, at Tampa Bay. Like they start right out of the chute with like a tough stretch of games. They play 4 of their divisional games in the first 10 weeks of the season. So you're kind of going to get a sense of like where they sit in the division by week 10. And then the next time you do play them, week 15, like that might be like the Vikings' last breath. Like if the Lions can snuff them out, then they won't be a concern after that. And I think if you do anything better than 2-2 in that stretch, the Lions are a playoff team, and they might be your NFC North champions if you do better than 2-2 over those final 4 games.
One interesting kind of schedule quirk too is that the Bears, all 3 of their final games are divisional games. So they're another one of those teams where it's like that final stretch is so drastically important, and we might not know where they stand in the division by then, because the rest of their division games are kind of scattered across. So they go versus Packers on Christmas, then against the Lions they get a little like kind of mini bye, because that's a Friday Christmas game in the afternoon, and then at Vikings to close things out. Unfortunately for Detroit, that at Vikings game might not mean much to Minnesota, but versus Packers, versus Lions, both home games for Chicago, those could be the season for the Bears.
Yeah, I like you said, Ryan. It feels like kind of like a cliche thing to do, to be like, well, the team that, or the guys that are writing for the site or that have a team site are going to probably pick the team to go 11-6, or in my case, probably 12-5. But like I think it also could drastically go the other way. Like there's absolutely a situation where the team probably falls closer to 9-8 like they were last year, if certain things just don't pan out well. If certain games if they drop certain games that we think that they should win, or if things like injuries mount up or things like that, or if certain teams are just better than we suspect them to be. But I don't know if there's a world right now, Jeremy, knocking on wood, where I see this team getting less than 9 wins right now.
I mean, I don't see less than 10. Now, that's not to say the Lions don't have questions, right? Like, and not to say some of these teams that we're chalking up for easy W's are not going to be better than we think. But with the offense that they have, like, they should, by all accounts, be a top 5 scoring offense again. That they haven't taken enough of a step back talent-wise to suspect anything else. Defensively, there are a lot of questions, no doubt, and maybe they slide a little bit there, or maybe Kelvin Shepard takes a year 2 jump, and some other guys in that defense take a year 2 or year 3 jump. But with the schedule, with the talent that they have, and blue chip players, unless, like, again, knock on wood, there's some sort of more crazy injury shenanigans that happen, to me this is at a minimum. Like I do honestly think, again, unless some sort of crazy injury stuff happens, that 10 wins is the absolute floor of this team given the schedule right now.
And I think you look at all of the teams on the schedule, and I think just in general, something I prescribe to is if you have a pass rusher and a quarterback, I feel like your team is probably always going to be in it for the most part in the NFL. And I'm trying to look at the schedule and find a lot of, well, they have two of those guys that might be better than Jared Goff and Aiden Hutchinson on their best day, right? Like the Buffalo Bills. Like that's a game that we've like, oh, they could lose that game. Or the Green Bay Packers if Micah Parsons is healthy by the time week 7 rolls around. But like, I don't feel that way about the Vikings. I feel that way in my heart about the Miami Dolphins, but they don't have the pass rusher, even though they shelled out, what they did. But like the Patriots, do the Patriots have like an awesome, like there's just all these games where I'm wondering, like the Bears, do the Bears have that pass rusher on their football team? I don't know. Like, I don't know if I see a ton of teams that have like the star talent at star spots to compete with what the Lions have talent wise. And I think that's also something residually, Jeremy, that you think about Lions teams from years past. It's like, well, they didn't have some of these players that they have that are all pro players, Pro Bowl players. And now they do. And you have to kind of take that into consideration. Like the NFL is still very much a league of the haves and the have-nots. There's not a ton of teams, Meko, that are going to emerge this season and all of a sudden be playoff teams that you don't suspect that they were at the beginning of the season. And like, I'm trying to see who those teams are. Maybe the Giants might be a team, right? Like if John Harbaugh can do if he can get Jackson Dart into shape, they have all the pass rushers, right? They have Brian Burns, they have all these guys. But I don't think that there's a ton of those teams that I'll take their stars versus the Lions stars.
And I think as much of a to-do that we made about like the week 15 to week 18 stretch, I think the one thing that we didn't mention at all in terms of probably of why we feel so optimistic in certain matchups or certain games, like the Lions will be getting healthier because certain guys will be coming back at this point in time. Like Brian Branch will be back near the back end of this stretch. And like, how much does that change your football team versus what you are probably like having out there in the early parts of the season? And I think a lot of those things can maybe change a lot of trajectory. Again, injuries are going to be the thing that we just don't know right now, which is also why, again, like I said, this is mock draft 1 or mock season prediction 1 of this offseason.
I prefer
nothing that we say today.
Don't say the D word. Relax.
I think that's. I tried. Oh, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think we all feel good about what this team can accomplish and where they could potentially be by the end of the season. We'll revisit, like I said, I don't know, probably at the start of training camp, because it's another great time to just like, what do we think this team is going to look like in the regular season? And then we're going to do it for a third time, literally probably at the end of preseason. So I think it's a good exercise that we were able to do this, and especially to break it up by weeks. So with all that said, that's pretty much going to do it for the podcast this week, but we do have a review. And for those of you that are listening to the podcast, we are getting dangerously close to 1,000 total reviews. Over on Apple Podcasts, we are currently at 934. I want to kind of throw a challenge out there to our listeners. Can you get us to 1,000 before the start of the season? So you guys have until week 1. Let's see if we can get up to 1,000 reviews over on Apple Podcasts. It'd be an awesome milestone. But do either of you want to read our most recent review?
Jeremy, can you do so while I order Jimmy John's?
Absolutely. Go get your. Do they even have the JJ Gargantuan anymore? But if they do, go get it.
Okay.
Treat yourself. It's your birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
all
you.
that meat.
This review, a 5-star review from our good friend Bailey PB, says POD is the best. Quote, I'm a huge Lions fan and follow most of the Lions beat writers, podcasts, websites, etc. And POD is the best of the best, IMO. Although they are Lions fans themselves, they do a fantastic job of staying objective, and they bring a great balance of intelligence, ball knowledge, and personality. Jeremy, Eric, Meko, Ryan, and the rest of the crew are amazing. Thank you for everything you do. And what I really like about this is they managed to get everyone's name right and spell everyone's name right. which is shockingly rare.
Wow. Bonus points.
I was gonna say that was my biggest takeaway. So shout out to you, Bailey, for spelling my name right specifically.
Not
No shade to anyone
Miko.
else that's- Brother.
Hey,
No shade to anybody else, but it's awesome when you guys do spell my name right.
it's awesome because the front office at my school, the blast out email this morning, 2 T's in my last name. I just had the Arthur fist for the rest of the day.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Ryan has some family activities to get to, but Jeremy, any other announcements for our listeners as we kind of roll out this week?
Yeah, everyone tweet at Ryan_POD and wish him a happy birthday.
There we go. That can also be your review. That can also be like an easy review that you could throw out there.
Super easy.
One step closer to 1,000.
Yeah, and
But all right, guys.
it'll happen at some point.
Yeah. And at some point in time, if you are watching any of our YouTube videos, at some point in time, Morgan and I are going to get to doing film studies on these draft prospects. It's been a time. We're going to get to it, though. I promise.
And 100
But with
nuggets
all of that said,
and 3 miles and
Up down.
got lots of things going on.
If I'm not injured.
Oh no, Jeremy's on IR. Who do you think does something physically active first, Micah Parsons or Jeremy Reisman?
Hey. I can move it now. I
Whoa,
got my
whoa.
little sleeve. I can move it now. I didn't want to do feet pics there. I had to be very
Jeremy's
careful.
showing feet on stream. We've crossed
Man.
over.
somewhere the hair on Rex Ryan's neck has stood up. But with that said, guys, if you guys are looking for any more additional Lions content, you can always do that over at the website at prideofdetroit.com. If you want to check out the live stream or just watch any of our video content, you can do that over at twitch.tv/prideofdetroit or youtube.com/prideofdetroit. By the way, speaking of milestones, we're close to 20,000 subscribers over on YouTube. So let's also throw that out there. Can we get to 20,000 before the start of the season? That would be awesome as well. So appreciate you guys. Love your guys' support. Thank you guys for all the reviews and for everything that you do to support us. And yeah, with all of that said, I'm Meko. He's Jeremy. He's Ryan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch and listen. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right. We did it. We made it through it. What are your guys' views on people saying lines are way too high on ticket prices? Yeah, they are. Like, I mean, I understand
Way
it's
too high.
It's a, supply and demand thing, and the wait list for season tickets is like crazy long, and they're only selling tickets at prices that are getting sold, and games are being sold out still. But I hate the fact that NFL games, especially for a successful franchise, are now no longer for this standard American family. They just aren't.
I saw how much a ticket price was for courtside of Game 1, Knicks vs. Cavs
Oh God.
at Madison Square Garden.
MSG, yeah.
It was $102,000.
Jeez.
Huh? It's not the finals. It's not the deciding. It's Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's I don't know. This is just happening everywhere.
Right.
It sucks. Everything's costing more. We're not getting paid enough. Rise up, workers.
It feels like sporting events have just become. I've said this a couple times, and maybe it's a little too class warfare of me, but it feels like it's more
No, it's
of
not.
a.
Say it.
It feels like it's more of a status symbol to be at these games than it is to actually be a fan of the team. I want to be seen at the Detroit Lions. I want to be seen at these Pistons games.
I want to post a story of me being there.
Yeah.
I
And
want to get
that's not true of everyone, but
No, but
so
there's a
many
lot of
fans want to be there that can't be there. And unfortunately, I don't see a reasonable solution to that problem.
I know how different it is because I went to Game 5 of the 2007 Eastern Conference Finals. I was in high school. I worked at a pizza shop. I was able to buy tickets to go to the Palace of Auburn Hills and sit like in the upper deck.
Yeah.
And it was me and my buddy who drove in his like beat up van.
Right.
And it didn't absolutely break the bank. I have a salary position. I wouldn't have ever dreamed of like going to like, like a Lions game now is just so expensive. It's so expensive. And like the opportunity cost is your couch, right? The opportunity cost is your couch and the food that you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on. And I can go to the bathroom whenever I want to go to the bathroom.
You don't have to worry about drunk people yelling around your kids, spilling beer on your kids. Like,
taking a kid to a sporting event is the last thing I could ever imagine doing.
Right.
I
feel like it would have been that way 20 years ago. Like, I don't want to pretend like, I mean, fighting at the Silverdome was a thing. Like, I'm not.
I was gonna say it took a long time for me to convince my dad to like take me to the Silverdome because he's like that it's rowdy. Like,
right.
Like we're gonna have to sit in a certain section.
But like to that point though, like I remember when I was in like middle school, maybe even high school, like they were like giving tickets away to go to Pistons games, like giving like family tickets away to things to where it was just like it was so easy to just get your family together and go to a game.
So many Vipers games.
I mean, listen, I'm not trying to throw shade at it, but like the equivalent these days are the Tigers. Like you can still get it in relatively affordable.
Yeah.
It's affordable.
It's affordable. Yeah.
Yeah. I went and I got a Greek Tigers jersey. I went on Greek Heritage Night. I'm not Greek at all. But like I went with a group of people who were, and like, we're just going to buy a bunch of tickets. And it comes with a Greek Heritage jersey. Now I have a Tigers Greek Heritage jersey, and I think the tickets were like $30.
See, that's super doable.
Yeah.
But it's also, I get it. I'm sure people would be like, well, that's like a regular season game, 1 out of 162 versus like playoff games. But like, it's scarcity, right? There's 9 Lions games, 8 this year that are within the United States. Yeah, of course those tickets are going to cost more, but like I don't think it was unaffordable for the common person to like go to a Lions game,
right?
Or like they have to make choices based on them going to the Lions game. Like I'm going without Meko.
I was gonna say like the Lions play the Jets on my birthday this year, and I'm heavily like considering asking that for my birthday gift, and knowing that my wife might be like, I'll have to send you by yourself.
It's always funny. So like ESPN throws out the schedule, has a really nice overlook of the schedule, and then at the very right is ticket prices. And if you look at the ticket prices, the home games versus the away games, it's ridiculous, right? Like obviously the Buffalo game is like the outlier here, where it's 619 low.
Yeah,
end.
I've heard that game is ridiculous.
But like
understandable though, right?
Yes. Week 1 is 259. I understand it's week 1, but it's the Saints. The Jets is 212. But if you want to fly to Arizona and make a trip out of it, it's $66 to watch them play in Arizona. It's $75 to go to Atlanta. It's $97 to go to Miami. Like who wouldn't?
66 for Arizona? That's enough. That's enough. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you think about there's no Spirit Airlines anymore though, so you gotta buy a big boy ticket now.
Well, I was gonna say $66 to go see the Lions play in the desert. You get to make a vacation out of it. You got enough money to spend on a secret bungalow that you can take your side piece to. You can make a vacation out of it.
I mean, at Minnesota at 119 is like extremely reasonable.
Like
that's a primetime game.
Road trip. You could do a little road trip to Minneapolis.
Primetime game. Atlanta, you want to go get some Magic City wings? It's $75 tickets.
Yes.
You could also check out Slutty Vegan.
I don't know what that
is. It's a restaurant in Atlanta called Slutty Vegan.
That like egg slut? Like what are we doing here? Why are we putting slut in restaurant names?
Hey.
I think though, like Jeremy, you look at that and I think you just use it as like a possibility to like actually turn it into something, because like just going to a Lions game at Ford Field
is not
like you
worth
said
it.
For the Saints. It's like, what is this? It's preseason week 4. It's $259.
Dang, hell, that's some Kellen Moore disrespect.
What's new? He disrespected his entire time in Detroit.
I can't. So the most expensive Lions quote unquote home game is Germany at $471 lowest ticket prices. I'm imagining that's gonna calm down. I don't know.
I think the thing that's annoying about it though is that you're talking about get in the door price.
Yes.
You're not talking about like getting a good seat.
Correct.
Like getting a good seat matters. Like at a Tigers game, I'll pay $12 to be in standing room because I want to walk around the ballpark anyways.
Right, and you can sit anywhere in Comerica.
Yeah, I'm eventually gonna move down.
Yeah.
Like, you could even do that when the Tigers were good.
True.
You could still move down. Like, Lions game, no. Pistons game, no. You're like tickets are getting checked.
Yep.
Somebody's probably gonna show up because they have a bigger bank account than you. They're gonna tell you to move. So yeah, class warfare. Let's go.
I've been debating like a second road game because I'm going to Germany, and like a road trip to Buffalo is very tempting. Obviously, not so much for Lions fans looking to pay for tickets.
Yeah.
Hell no.
But you've been to the Vikings stadium and you said
I
it was
have.
really cool, right?
Yes, I haven't been to the press box there, so that's a little bit tempting because I hear some good things about the press box food. I have a buddy in Carolina who wants me to come down. Primetime roadies are tough, though. I will say Atlanta is like sneaking up on possibilities because it seems like a pretty fun city. It's
Jeremy, you're dancing around it. You know where we gotta go. Miami.
where we gotta go.
We gotta go to Miami.
Dude.
We gotta go to Miami.
It's not happening.
$97.
It's not happening because I'm traveling
The three of us
Monday to
gotta
go to Germany. I'm traveling Monday to go to Germany. Literally the day after. I can't.
Go from Miami to Germany.
I already booked a plane. Meko.
It's literally the only game I could get talked into going to.
I'm not. Listen, go down there. Stay with my mom that weekend. That's fine. You guys can go. I'm not going.
I'm going to buy her a Malik Willis jersey, and she's going with me to the game.
You're not gonna go, and Ryan and I are gonna get adopted, and you're gonna be really upset about it. Like,
I'm not going to be upset about it. I welcome you guys to the family in an instant.
Welcome to the family. Well, if I'm part of your family, I'm not buying any Malik Willis jerseys. I know that. He doesn't need any curses.
Fair.
yeah, why haven't you used your powers for good yet? Like, why haven't you bought like an opposing?
I don't know if it'll work.
But he also hasn't tried.
He hasn't tried.
I mean, Matthew Stafford did suffer an injury the year after he won a Super Bowl.
Great. How much is a Caleb Williams jersey? Everybody started.
Listen, everyone has the P.O. box. Exclamation point P.O. box. Send me a jersey. Yeah.
Hold on. Do you have to just own it, or do you have to buy it with your own?
No,
money? Like,
see-
I'm trying to make sure.
But we can test. Oh, Jared Davis was given to you, right?
That's correct.
You guys want to see Micah Parsons have a setback? You guys interested in seeing the Packers really regret giving up on the wrong quarterback?
You guys want to see Dad Life just like kick Josh Allen in the teeth? Like, I don't even want anything terrible to happen. I just want him to be overwhelmed with being a father and a husband. Like,
Tara says these ticket prices are wrong because they're not live yet. So this is technically secondary market. This is Vivid Seats, I think is what ESPN uses. So the prices could certainly go down. Sorry, go ahead.
If someone gets you a Kyler Murray jersey, does it have to be like full size jersey, or can it just be the onesie? Like,
Yeah,
Does it only come in kid sizes?
I thought those were the game authenticated jerseys.
Hey,
See, we're gonna have all these short jokes, and the Vikings are gonna dunk on the Lions twice this year.
by the way, if you want to go to a road preseason game, you can basically walk in the door for free.
Oh yeah,
For $14 tickets to Cincy, drivable.
that's a little trip.
$21 to Indy, also drivable. Indy's a nice little city too. I don't think I've ever been to Cincy though. But if you like sweet
I had
chili,
friends. Yeah, I had friends who went to the Cincy game last year, and they had a blast. Again, short trip.
Yeah.
They stayed downtown.
I would say that'd be a good
Cincinnati's
take your
not a
kids
bad
to.
place to stay either.
Mm-hmm.
If you just have like a kid that's obsessed with football and you want a low stakes, crowds aren't going to be out of control, affordable trip, like that's what I think. Like I know we all clown the preseason as something that doesn't matter and you don't get to see your favorite teams play, but like if you just want something fun for your kid, I feel like the preseason's a pretty good choice for that.
Oh yeah, depending on how old they are.
Yeah.
Like if they realize that it's football that like doesn't entirely matter.
Yeah.
They might kind of feel like you asked for Lucky Charms, but you got happy go lucky cereal. I don't know. And it's in a bag. It didn't come in a box. And it's like, oh, thanks.
You might have thought you were getting Fruit Loops. You got Fruity-O's.
Yeah.
I guess yeah, I'm probably talking in the like 3 to 8 range rather than the 10 to 17 range. You're not gonna fool
son.
your 16-year-old kid like,
Yeah.
hey,
Like,
maybe Jared Goff plays for a series.
hey, ChatGPT, like AI's gotten really advanced. You can come up with like a fake article on the spot and just be like, "No, Jared just got scratched."
All right, it's almost 7:30. We wanted to get you out, Ryan, to have a dinner with your family. So go leave. Get out of here. Skedaddle.
Right. But I'm having so much fun.
I know.
All right.
We're all having fun.
I know. But I mean, we're so against it when it comes to schedule releases.
Midweek mailbag probably Wednesday afternoon. I haven't even talked to Eric about it, but that'll be available for everyone. So be on the lookout for that. We got a first bite already lined up. Keith Abney week. Already recorded, already in the can. It's a great episode. You guys are gonna love it if you're a Pride of Detroit Derek subscriber.
It's even better because it's already recorded.
Yep. So is Jimmy Rolder. So is Derek Moore.
Derek Moore.
We just got one more to go.
I'm worried. It's
I
just
can't
the
wait
all
till I can do
elusive.
this.
I haven't even tried. I need to get back on it. Like
Born out of relaxation and you're enjoying your time
Yes.
off, or are you a little bit also nervous that it's going to be tough to pin someone down?
no, it's mostly like I'm getting too comfortable of like, oh man, like I bought so much time, so I'm just gonna like not pay attention, and then like we're gonna get to the week of not having it, be like, oh, I forgot to reach out to any Clemson people. Oops.
I'm going to get DM and it's like, are you available at Wednesday at 5 p.m. on Tuesday?
Tonight
Yeah.
at 11:30 p.m. That's the only time they were available.
Only time difference. They're in Tokyo.
All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for all the support, all the resubs, all the follows. Let's get to 20,000 on YouTube and to 1,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't done it, just spend a little extra time to share some love. That's all I got. All right, guys. We'll see you soon.